Why doesn't Big Cat Rescue breed? Meet Sundari. Sundari was born here back in 1996, before we learned that no privately held exotic cats can serve any sort of conservation purpose. Back then, in the pre-internet era of the 90s, the only people we could turn to for advice were breeders and dealers who lied to us about the necessity of breeding exotic cats to save them. As soon as we learned better, we stopped breeding and began campaigning to end the abuse of breeding wild cats for life in cages. There is no reason to breed tigers or any other big cat for lives of confinement and deprivation. The only sanctioned international breeding plans for exotic cats are called species survival plans, and they are only carried out in accredited zoos. None of the captive breeding of exotic cats is doing anything to save them in the wild. The wild cats in private hands mostly came as zoo surplus and were sold out the back door with no records or pedigrees. Unfortunately, it still happens today. Those animals were then bred, and many purposefully inbred for such traits as a white coat, tiny size, and a docile temperament. None of the exotic cats in wild hands can be traced back to the wild, other than the local cats, cougars, and bobcats who may have been snatched from the wild in the US. For that reason, they can never be bred for introduction back into the wild. First, no such program exists, and even if by some act of God all human settlements were wiped out of some vast area and it became suitable for wildlife again, these captive bred cats could never survive. There are other reasons in the real world why it doesn't work, which includes the fact that human big cat conflict is one of the main reasons cats are wiped out of areas. Captive breeding not only selectively chooses animals that are least fit for the wild, but also conditions the cats not to fear humans. That increases the conflict, and the result is that not only would the offending cat be killed, but likely any wild cat seen in the area will be hunted down and killed in case of mistaken identity. That escalates the extinction of cats in the wild. Last, but maybe most important, if you can pay to see wild cats on your terms, cheaply, in a cage, or being forced to let you touch them and have your photo taken with them or they're young, you aren't learning anything about who these animals really are. You aren't learning about how they fit into a complex environment when they are housed in a situation that does not duplicate all the web of life that they are part of in the wild. All wild cats roam territories that are calculated in miles, not square feet. To know anything about them, you have to see them for who they really are in their real environment. Conservation is a very complex issue, and the captive setting does not duplicate it. So the important work of saving entire ecosystems is not taught and not done in a captive setting. What's worse is that the lip service is paid to these worthy objectives, and when you pay to see the captive wildlife, you walk away thinking you did something good, when in fact you contributed to the problem. You pay to see a cat in a cage. You made sure that the industry continues to breed and exploit more cats. You did not pay to save the wild and all of the wondrous and magnificent creatures who call it home. You put another nail in the coffin for the planet. Sundari demonstrates, better than most, the fact that you may be able to take the animal out of the wild, but you'll never be able to take the wild out of an animal. Want to volunteer, intern, donate, or simply learn more about us and our mission? Visit bigcatrescue.org today. You can be a voice for these cats.